You just cannot talk about the accident and the pain and not talk about the people. And if you have not subscribed, click that subscribe button, go and watch part 1 and part 2, because this is the start of part 3. I remember being in secondary school, aka high school, and wanting everybody to like me and to be friends with everyone. And my mum quickly told me that she only had 5 friends. 5? I was like, what? Like, nobody doesn't like you. She's like, trust me, the less you have, the better. I did not understand what that meant because my secondary school days were trying. Okay? From the age of what? 13 to 16, I just felt like the world was on my shoulders. I know that it's something that we all go through as teenagers, even as adults, the growing pains of trying to learn yourself, trying to find yourself, and trying to accommodate yourself to those around you, until one day the penny drops and you realize that you aren't the problem. It isn't that anybody else is the problem, it's just the fact that you guys do not align in the way that you're supposed to. So let me talk about my friends. My friends are literally the foundation to the person I am today. I genuinely feel like they have all been handpicked. I want to say by me, but that would not be given God enough credit. So I know that they've been hand selected by God himself. Each of them cater to me and fuel me in different ways. I know everybody has seen at least one happy birthday post that says thank you to everybody that wished me a happy birthday, and to those that haven't. This is not that type of vlog, because 2 things people are going to do in this life is 1, lift you up, or 2, let you down. And none of us are perfect. We all have elements of letting people down. For me, communication is the key to all foundations, relationships, friendships, sisterships. All ships equal communication. I mentioned my birthday in the previous vlog, and that's because year after year, I'm so grateful to be able to celebrate. But most importantly, I am more grateful to be able to celebrate with the people that I choose and also choose me. Over the years, they have formed their own foundation where they know annually they're going to get to see each other. They have never crossed paths in terms of exchanging numbers. The most they've done is exchange social media. So you can imagine what would happen in the instance that I am in an emergency and nobody doesn't know how to get through to the other people. If I stay talking about the kid, we will be here for hours and hours and hours. Credit to my younger brother who quickly acted in my time of need. He reached out to the people that he knew were my foundation, who then reached out to the other people who are part of my foundation. Now, in these scenarios, there is just no way that everybody is going to be contacted. But there's one particular person that sticks in my mind when I got my phone back. She is the only person that I still have in my life from my Twitter days, and I deactivated my Twitter in November of 2011. So that's already 14 years of friendship. When I checked my phone 5 minutes after the accident, she messaged me because I hadn't replied to her message the day before because I was driving the entire day. I saw there was a message on the 3rd of May, there was a message on the 4th of May, there was a message on the 5th of May, and on the 6th of May, she messaged me to say, okay, I'm officially worried now. Getting my phone back and seeing that message broke my heart, because there's 2 people that I know just wouldn't be contacted by anybody. They are not mutual friends, and they are the only 2 people that know me. She knows only me and she knows only me. They don't know each other. So this is one thing I can say to you. If your friends are your friends, mention their names so that when they get your phone, they can at least reach out to the people that were not at the forefront of their mind. Before I go any further, I want to introduce you or reintroduce you to another app that is on your phone that can assist in terms of emergencies. And that is the Health app. On this app, you are able to put all your medical history. There is a category called Medical ID. In this particular category of Medical ID, you're able to put standard things like your name and your date of birth. You can also put if you're pregnant, any medications that you're taking, any allergies that you have, and is listed your emergency contact. Just below that is your conditions and any additional notes that one might need to know in state of an emergency. Here is my shopping list of injuries listed For just in case there is another emergency situation, I have activated show when locked, meaning that all somebody has to do is tap the emergency, then medical ID, and all this information will come up. Things like this can definitely help. For example, if you're allergic to any medication that they might need to give you at the scene or at the point of contact, they would already know if you have any allergies. Also, let's be honest, we don't all know our friends' medical histories. I had a surgery when I was 15 years old, and to be honest with you, I completely forgot about that until I had to start writing what surgeries I've had, and on the list of shopping and on the list of injuries, do I go down the scale and remember I had my appendix taken out roughly in 2005. There isn't anybody that's going to know me now in my adult life that's going to know that I had that surgery, especially when I don't have any scars from it. The people you choose to be in your corner, goes without saying, are the people that should be there for you in the good times and the bad times. Being as vulnerable as I was and in the condition that I was in, I was hesitant to reach out to everybody that I could think of. So I slowly started to integrate myself to picking up the phone and calling people. Being as vulnerable as I was at the time, with my limited physical capacity, and also being as medicated as I was, I felt it difficult to expose myself to people, even though I knew that these people would show up for me. I sent a voice note to a friend. His immediate reaction let me know that I was not even ready to talk properly yet. His reaction was so broken just because my voice wasn't back intact. I have some ENT issues which were discovered pre-surgery. When they were trying to put the intubator down my throat, they noticed that it kept bouncing back, and by the time that they called the ENT specialist to come through, whatever it was had popped. So when I came out of ICU, I had to sit back down with the ENT specialist, who put a camera up my nose, very uncomfortable, and saw that there was nothing there, but told me to keep an eye on it. I've had 2 appointments since then. Through ongoing appointments post-surgery, it's been discovered that I have a granuloma, granola bar in my terms, which is harmless and non-cancerous. I did have to take some medication for it just to reduce the swelling. This granuloma is located close to my voice box, which explains the issues I was having talking coming out of ICU. Now, if I myself realized that I sounded that croaky, that broken, that not myself, I would not have sent that voice note. But what happened at the time was my hand was so casted that messaging was such a task to do. Thank God to technology again that we can send voice notes and keep in contact that way. As soon as I heard his response, I knew I couldn't voice note anybody again, and I just had to take my time with responses. And thankfully, nobody was reaching out to the desperate need of a response from me. I remember calling my friend about 10 days after I came out of ICU, and I hadn't spoken to her for a little bit, but I know that she's a person that I don't have to speak to often, but as soon as I call, she'll answer the phone. We always make a joke that she says I might have to call her 2 or 3 times for her to actually answer, but that hasn't happened yet. I called her and explained the situation, and she said, I'll be on a flight tomorrow. I was like, pardon? She was like, I'm coming. You're coming from London, UK to Syracuse, New York? Are you sure? She was like, yeah, why wouldn't I? And I was like, I don't know. I knew that at that point I was comfortable with the kid coming to see me, and we had adapted to where I was physically. But in terms of other people coming, I wasn't comfortable with that. She managed to twist my arm though and said, I'll do your hair. And Lord knows my hair needed doing. So with small convincing, I allowed her to come and visit me, and she was literally there in 2 days' time, just because of the time difference from UK traveling to New York, Syracuse. Letting your guard down is a lot harder than what anybody would think, being in that much of a vulnerable position. I pray that nobody else has to go through it, but even using common examples like moving house or getting a new job, like these things shift your emotions and make you speak to people in a way that you wouldn't normally, allowing them to see a completely different side to you, and maybe gaining just that little bit more respect for the type of person that you are. I truly believe that my whole life I've been misunderstood, and like I mentioned in the first vlog, one thing that people always describe me as is stubborn, and it's always to the negative, but nobody ever tries to put its positive spin on it, which is that I'm always going to do as much as I can until I can no longer do it. I'm going to fight until the very end, until I can no longer do it. A lot of people seem to think that confrontation is a bad thing, when sometimes all we're trying to do is express how we feel so that we can move past this. We can work through it and move past this. During this period of recovering, partly being injured, partly recovering, a lot of people have shown that they are not capable of being the anchors for me as I have been for them. And that is completely fine. People have reasons and seasons. And I think the more we go through life and go through situations that enable us to see that not everybody is permanent, not everybody is here forever, not everybody is going to serve the same purpose that they did when they once came into your life. It gives you a bit better understanding of them as a person and the relationship that you have tried to build with them. I know that there's a lot of people, both London and Toronto, that would have loved to have been there for me physically. But unfortunately, I had pride and wasn't allowing anybody to physically see me in this way. It was very difficult for me to even see myself in this way. By the time I got back to Ontario, I'd made all the necessary phone calls to the most important people in my life and gave them the opportunity to come and see me. And little did I know how much that was going to fuel me, to encourage me to continue to get better, so I can get back to being the person that they once knew. Sometimes in this life, we don't give our people enough credit for showing up for us when we cannot show up for ourselves. So this is a public thank you to everybody who is watching this, who knows that they have been there for me, whether it's in a small or large capacity. To those that have donated to me getting my Timmies as part of my treats, me getting to and from my appointments, just sending me money that I'm able to do whatever I need to do with it. I am grateful. I'm grateful that through posting it on all my social media, I've had people reconnect with me through all walks of life. I'm talking about people from my early 20s, from my childhood. These people don't know me now as an adult, but they knew me then as a child. And for them to still be able to express words of kindness shows me that once a foundation is built, it truly is unshakable. There's some things that happen in people's lives, and really and truly, pride will never be the winner. It will never, ever win. All it does is end up eating you alive because you feel like you could have done better, or maybe it wasn't received in the way that you wanted it to be. We have to allow people to be who they are. We have to allow people to stay true to who they are. Knowing that my hair needed to be done was definitely the gateway in me allowing my friend to come and see me. But I did not know how much of a break the kid needed from being there with me 24/7. Having somebody else there with him made it that he didn't have to solely rely on his own hearing, his own understanding, his own timing. They were able to stay in the same location, which is Sarah's guest house, a place that we will forever be grateful for. Them staying there together meant that they were able to travel to and from the hospital. The football was on, so they were able to sit down and watch the game together. We ordered food. We were able to just really change the trajectory and the energy of my room. I didn't realize that the vibes were so heavy until I had a complete different energy come in and change how me and the kid looked at everything. My friend was only there for 3 days, which I still think is completely crazy. To be able to travel literally halfway across the world to come and spend 3 days with me, to do my hair, to spend a few hours outside, to speak life into me, is just moments that I won't forget. It's for the same people that traveled 40-45 minutes plus to come to the hospital that I was at in Ontario, to bring me some of my favorite snacks, to sit with me and just to talk with me of how I'm feeling and where life is right now. It makes a big difference from being on the phone and on FaceTime. I cannot disregard all the people that gave me hours and hours and hours of their time when I was in hospital, keeping me company. A lot of people assumed that I was Netflixing and chilling. As I mentioned before, my brain capacity was solely tunnel visioned on recovering and getting better. I could not focus on anything else. So it meant that I didn't really watch anything. I think I watched 2 shows when I got my MacBook back once I'd arrived in Ontario. In Syracuse, they have paid TV, so I was able to just flick through and watch like channels such as BET, VHS, some of the movie channels. I definitely watch one of my favorite films from being a child, which is Mrs. Doubtfire. All these little injections of happiness and entertainment was something that I did not take for granted then, and I for sure do not take for granted now. In all of this, the most important person in my life, which is my kid brother, showed up for me in a way that I never would have wanted him to. I would have never wanted him to be in this position where he had to physically, emotionally be strong for me. We've been through a lot as 2 siblings, but the way that we came together during this period is something that I just can't put into words. I knew that I loved him from early on. There's 5 years between us, and I was just so excited to have this younger brother. And as he grew older, I felt a sense of responsibility. I felt like my childhood was very different to his. And I don't know if that's to do with the times that we were growing up in, but I just felt like I was being taught more things from my environment than he was. And I took it upon myself to teach him the same things that I was learning from my environment. The difficult thing is that we are 2 different people. I am 100% fire and he is 100% water. He does put my fire out all the time. He calms me down all the time. But it also meant that in the time that he wasn't able to stand up for himself, I came in like a ton of bricks, day in, day out. We went to primary and secondary school that actually shared a playground fence. And every single break time, I would make sure that he would come to me and tell me what was happening. And I'd tell him to go and call these children over so I can let them know that he might not be able to speak up for himself, but trust me, I can speak up for both of us. And when I look back at it, you know, they were children and it felt like they were bullying my younger brother. So I had to let them know that he might not be able to stand up for himself, but trust and believe if I have to, I 100% will. And I think that that's really how we've gone through life, with him being in my shadow, and not because I've wanted him to be, but because I've stopped him from doing anything that would put him in any danger or any trouble. So you can imagine my surprise when I'm the one that is fully in danger and he steps right up to the top. He shows up exactly when he needs to. He shows up in a way that everybody around me can see, yeah, this is a good kid. I'm so grateful that he is a young Black man that hasn't had to be a part of the stigma and the narrative that this world has about us as Black people, and especially as a Black man. It isn't easy. The world stays gunning them down and breaking them down and shunning them for the things that they only know how to do as a man. And what that does is that it shuts them off from being vulnerable, it shuts them off from being open, and it shuts them off from being able to express how they truly feel about certain things. And I know that this is probably a conversation that me and him won't have, just because of the trauma related to it. I've already given him my public thanks on my Instagram platform. I've given him my public thanks on my TikTok platform. And now I'm giving him public thanks on my YouTube platform. I cannot thank you enough for being my rock before this happened. I cannot thank you enough for being my motivation and my reason before this happened. I'm 35 at the moment and I'm not a parent, but I tell everybody I've been a parent from the age of 5, and my parenting became more intact the more he grew, the more I transitioned from being his big sister to being his second mum. And me and my mum used to argue about this all the time. And I'll tell her, I mean, still till now, I just tell her, you just gave birth to him. And me and him, you know, we go through stages of our life where we can truly sit down and say, like, no, our parents definitely raised us. As siblings, we've done exactly what needs to be done, which is just to show up for each other. Alongside talking about the kid, I cannot talk about this entire experience without mentioning my soul sister. She is the newest person on my cheerleading team, and this whole ordeal, especially for the kid, would not have been possible to get through without her help and her services. She linked my Find My, she sent my friend to go and collect my belongings from the tow garage. She got in contact with my workplace to let them know that the accident had happened and I wouldn't be coming back to work anytime soon. Through this tragic event, my kid brother was able to gain another older sister, somebody that he was able to liaise with during this time when I had no clue what was happening. I'm still finding emails on my phone that I had no idea about, information that was kept from me for obvious reasons, information that I'm still processing now, that it just feels like, man, these people took on a complete burden that I did not have to take on at all. Tackling through my insurance definitely took us about 4 weeks to get to the end of it, which was why I was in Syracuse for so long. And then we come to Ontario to find out that my health card expired somewhat like 2 days before the accident, and that was another whole process of getting that reinstated so that I can get the healthcare that I'm entitled to. She called the insurance to let them know that an accident had happened and we'd give them the information that we could at the time. She reached out to my doctor's surgery. I say all of this to say, continue to choose people that choose you. Fight for people that fight for you. Nobody and none of us is perfect, but all we can do is continue to keep striving to be. I'll leave you with this quote from Oscar Wilde: be yourself because everybody else is already taken. It's one sentence that truly has changed my life from age 27 up until now. Once I realized that I am not a chameleon, I cannot adapt myself to everybody around me. All I can do is learn myself, be true to myself, and be myself. The more I gravitated to people that are like me, people that put their life on the line for those that they love and care about. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Gypsy Jens.